In search of a passenger, Sarfaraz had taken his rickshaw far into a deserted area. The heat, thirst, and suffocation had taken a toll on him. His mother had told him the night before that they were running out of groceries. That wasn't the only problem, and the house rent hadn't been paid for 2 months either. Thinking about all this, he had gone farther than usual. Evening had fallen, and night was approaching. Just as he was about to head back, he saw 3 veiled girls in black burqas approaching from a distance. There were no houses in that desolate place, so their presence seemed strange. But he thought perhaps they had lost their way or were looking for a ride. The girls came up to him and said, "Brother, can you drop us at Shah Haveli?" Sarfaraz immediately agreed. He was happy to find passengers in such a deserted area. The Haveli was about 2 kilometers away. He had just enough petrol to get there, but returning would be difficult. He figured he could refuel after receiving the fare. Along the way, the girls laughed and chatted amongst themselves. They seemed to be of the same age and height. Then one of them said, "Brother, we forgot to tell you we don't have any fare." Hearing this, Sarfaraz was disappointed, but he didn't show it. He said, "It's okay, you were in a deserted place, anything could have happened to you. I'll drop you off." Upon reaching Shah Haveli, the girls got down without a word and entered the Haveli. There were no other houses nearby. As Sarfaraz turned his rickshaw around, his eyes fell on a black bag lying on the back seat. One of the girls had it with her. He stopped the rickshaw and picked up the bag, walking toward the Haveli. He didn't want to go inside, but he felt it was his responsibility to return the lost item. As soon as he touched the door, it opened on its own. The inside was terrifying, and no lights, no signs of life. Frightened, he quickly came out and returned home. His mother opened the door and saw his worried face but didn't ask anything. When she noticed the black bag, she tried to open it. Sarfaraz wanted to stop her, but before he could, she had already opened it. What was inside stunned both of them. The bag was full of valuable jewelry. Sarfaraz came from a poor family. His childhood had been filled with hardships. His father was also a rickshaw driver, and paying the house rent was always a big struggle. Sarfaraz had been responsible from a young age. When his father started falling ill frequently, Sarfaraz secretly learned how to drive the rickshaw. One night, Sarfaraz overheard his parents whispering. Listening closely, he found out that his father had a liver disease. The treatment was very expensive, beyond their means. His father was telling his mother that he would teach Sarfaraz to drive the rickshaw so the family wouldn't struggle after he was gone. Hearing this, Sarfaraz cried silently all night. The next day, he himself asked his father to teach him. His father smiled sadly. Within 2 months, Sarfaraz had mastered rickshaw driving. Just 4 months after learning, his father quietly passed away. Sarfaraz was only 15 at the time. There wasn't a single night he didn't cry himself to sleep. But without letting anyone notice, he took on all the responsibilities of the house. He didn't want his mother or sisters to feel alone. After their father's death, his mother suggested the girls quit school. But Sarfaraz strongly refused and decided to complete his high school studies privately. He began working all day as a rickshaw driver. Within 2 years, he became highly skilled, but inflation made it increasingly difficult to manage the household. That very day, when he had found the 3 veiled girls as passengers, their black bag had remained in his rickshaw. Despite Sarfaraz's protest, his mother opened the bag, and both were shocked to see the valuable jewelry inside. His mother then closed the bag and said, "Son, this belongs to someone else. We will not betray their trust." That was the upbringing his mother had given him. Sarfaraz agreed and thought the girls would surely return for their belongings. His mother safely kept the bag in her wardrobe and told Sarfaraz not to mention it to anyone. The next morning, Sarfaraz set out again with his rickshaw, but didn't find any passengers by noon. Suddenly, he had the thought to check the Haveli during the daytime to see whether those girls lived there. He hadn't seen anyone the night before and was unsure whether he should go. Eventually, he decided to go and drove toward the Haveli. It was quite far, but Sarfaraz knew the bag held valuable jewels. It was his duty to return them. After a 1.5-hour ride, He reached the Haveli. The surrounding homes were deserted. It seemed like no one lived in the area. The overgrown lawn of the Haveli made it clear it was abandoned. The front door was slightly ajar. As he stepped inside, he suddenly heard the laughter of women and the voices coming from within the Haveli. Perhaps the girls were in one of the rooms. He realized entering without permission wasn't right, but remembering the jewelry, he ventured further inside. The scene inside shocked him. All the rooms were closed, yet the laughter echoed. He looked toward the upper floor, where there were more rooms, but their doors were shut too. Suddenly, one of the closed doors began banging loudly. The sound chilled him to the bone. He became certain that there was a presence, something not human. Terrified, he turned and ran. As he exited the Haveli, he saw a man walking nearby. The man noticed Sarfaraz's pale face and asked, "Young man, what were you doing in that haunted Haveli? It's been abandoned for years. You must be new to this area if you don't know." Sarfaraz steadied himself and said, "Last night I dropped off 3 passengers here. One of their belongings was left in my rickshaw. I came to return it, but I didn't find anyone." "Is this Haveli really abandoned?" The man stared at him and replied, "No one has lived in that Haveli for the past 20 years. Didn't you know? The family that used to live there was tormented by supernatural beings and left Hila never returned. Many stories circulate about that Haveli." Sarfaraz was overwhelmed with fear and confusion. The image of the 3 veiled girls who rode with him in the middle of the night haunted his mind. Now, he had to uncover the horrifying truth. But if he told anyone that he had their treasure, no one would believe him. He decided he would uncover the truth himself. Surrounded by fear and unanswered questions, he headed back home. Sarfaraz's story had taken a strange turn. When he told his mother he wanted to see the treasure again, she brought the bag before him. The sparkling diamonds and gems were exactly as he remembered. His mother asked, "Son, did you find those girls who left this behind?" Sarfaraz shook his head and replied, "No, Ammi. The Haveli where they got off is completely abandoned. I went there again today." His mother paused and said, "Then let's sell a little of this gold. We have to pay rent and buy groceries." But Sarfaraz firmly refused. "No, Ammi, this is someone's trust. We cannot spend even a little of it without permission." His mother nodded and placed the treasure back in the cupboard. But now Sarfaraz began to feel that as long as that treasure remained in their home, he would keep thinking about it. A broken bar, and he feared what might come next. He feared that his intentions might change. So he made up his mind to find those girls and return their belongings. The next morning, as he went out with his rickshaw, by coincidence, he got a passenger from the same area. It was an old man heading in that direction. During their conversation, Sarfaraz asked the old man about the Shah Haveli. The old man replied with surprise, "Son, that's an old mansion that has been abandoned for the past 20 years. Why are you asking?" Sarfaraz evaded the question. "Just curious to know about it. Can you tell me why the owners abandoned it?" The old man took a deep breath and said, 20 years ago, a family lived there happily, but their young son, Afraz, fell into bad company. He got involved with black magic and even began learning it. One day, he saw a spiritual man performing a dangerous ritual to control a powerful jinn. Afraz thought, if he can do it, why can't I? So, he started practicing the same ritual on the top floor of the mansion. For 7 consecutive nights, he continued their ritual in silence. As soon as the ritual was completed, strange things began happening in the mansion. Strong winds, dust storms, and eerie sounds. Objects began moving on their own. Afraz couldn't understand what he had done, but when he realized he had made the leader of the jinn his follower, he felt powerful. However, he didn't know that jinn never let a human live in peace. Slowly, an entire tribe of jinn settled in the mansion. Life became difficult for the family. In the daytime, things were normal, but at night, objects flew around, and terrifying voices echoed. One of the young girls in this family began having fits. She claimed to see jinn everywhere and would scream in fear. They called a cleric, who said all this was the result of Afraz's mistake. He warned them that dealing with such jinn wasn't easy and advised the family to leave the mansion. But Afraz refused and remained stubborn. Soon, the jinn began seeking revenge. Troubles increased, and one night, the entire family fled. Since then, the mansion has remained abandoned. Locals say the jinn still live there. At night, strange laughter can be heard, and people have seen shadows moving on the roof. That's why no one dares go near the mansion after dark. Later, another cleric came and told the family that someone among them had harmed the jinn. The only solution was to leave the mansion because the entire jinn tribe had claimed it. They would not leave at any cost. They believed the boy had destroyed their home and peace. That's why they were filled with rage. Afraz was ashamed and begged the cleric to do something. But the cleric said it was beyond his ability to fight the whole tribe of jinn and advised the family to quietly vacate the place. The cleric left without any remedy, and grief fell upon the mansion. Eventually, the family left overnight. The entire neighborhood soon learned what had happened, and no one dared go near the mansion anymore. The old man told this entire tale to the young rickshaw puller but then added, "I don't understand why you're so interested in all this." The boy couldn't stay silent anymore and decided to tell the truth. He told the old man about the veiled girls who had left the treasure in his rickshaw and entered the mansion that night. The old man was stunned and said, "From what you're telling me, it seems they must have been jinn princesses, perhaps the daughters of the jinn leader. Many have heard strange voices from that mansion at midnight, and some have even seen jinn walking on the roof. That's why our people don't step outside at night." The boy asked, "But why did they leave such a precious treasure in my rickshaw?" "I don't understand." The old man replied, "I don't know either, son, but maybe they will return to you for it." The mansion was now near, but the old man warned that jinn do not appear during the day, though they roamed the mansion at night. The boy, now obsessed with the veiled girls and the treasure, gathered some money, bought basic supplies, and went home. But his focus was no longer on pulling the rickshaw. His mother was worried that thieves might come looking for the treasure. Finally, the boy gathered courage and decided to visit the mansion at night without telling his mother. As night fell, he left for the mansion. He parked his rickshaw under a tree a short distance away and walked toward the Haveli. All the streets were deserted, and silence hung in the air. Not even a bird stirred. The darkness deepened, and there was a strange unease in the wind, as if someone was silently watching. No human or animal was in sight. Though afraid, Sarfaraz summoned courage and stepped into the mansion. It looked desolate by day, but now it glowed with light. He hid behind a tree. Suddenly, the large hall door opened, and what he saw froze his blood. 3 beautiful girls emerged, with long golden hair and dressed in silk robes. They laughed and talked among themselves. As Sarfaraz looked into their eyes, he recognized Ama. They were the same veiled girls from that night. They had seen him too. They walked up to the tree where he was hiding. "I feel like I've been here before," one jinn princess whispered. "Yes, but what human would dare come here?" The second replied. "Everyone knows this mansion is under our tribe's rule," said the third. Sarfaraz's breath caught. Suddenly, a bug bit his foot, and he let out a painful cry. All 3 turned and stared. "How did you get into this mansion, rickshaw puller?" one of them asked. With a trembling voice, Sarfaraz said, "I didn't come with bad intentions. I know this is the jinn's mansion, but you left something precious in my rickshaw. I came to return it." Their eyes lit up. Mahapura, the eldest, stepped forward and said, "Oh, those jewels." "Yes, we accidentally left them in your rickshaw." "Where are they?" Sarfaraz explained, "I wanted to make sure you really lived here, so I didn't bring them today. But if you say, I'll return them whenever you want." Mahapura smiled. "All right, but don't come here again. If our guardian jinn see you, they might harm you." "I'll come to your house myself." Sarfaraz nodded and hurriedly left. When he reached home, his mother noticed his terrified face. "Son, what happened? Are you all right?" Sarfaraz told his mother everything. She was horrified. "What have you done? What if those jinn harm you?" Sarfaraz calmly replied, "A trust is a trust whether it belongs to a human or a jinn." That night, there was a knock at the door. When Sarfaraz opened it, he saw a young girl standing outside. Her face was covered with the veil, but her eyes were enough for Sarfaraz to recognize.